Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to SoulSpace podcast number 90.
Yeah. Welcome.
We're going to continue our little theme for March about luck. And today we're going to talk about creating luck for yourself and
Mm.
different ways you can do that and by using mindset and stuff like that. But also, we thought we'd give a little history about superstitions around luck and
Yeah.
different things that people use and create for themselves that they have to do
It's so
because they want to be
interesting.
lucky. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting when we're talking about a topic, and we both feel this way, which is,
Yeah,
why we're talking about it,
yeah,
is to talk about a little bit about the history of it and different
right.
rituals and things that people used to do, and might even still do today,
Mhm.
that make them feel luckier. And we'll kind of talk about why that could be important.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty fun. Um, and I don't know if you had any, did you play sports or anything in
Yes.
school?
Hmm.
And a lot of times that's where they really have some big superstitions. I know
Yeah.
my boys played hockey growing up, and now my grandson does, and my other grandson plays basketball. But I remember my boys sometimes for hockey like you couldn't wash their jerseys before a game, or some of them didn't wouldn't let their moms wash their jerseys the whole season.
Oh
And
no.
it's like, oh my God, hockey stinks. No matter what, hockey is a stinky
Oh my
sport.
goodness.
But I know there's a lot of rituals like that. Like sometimes you can't wash their socks, or they have to wear a certain sock or a certain shirt the day before the game or some stuff like that. So it's really kind of fun to hear what people's rituals are or
Right, because
what
some of them, you're like, what? Like, why would you ever do that?
I
And
know.
it's really interesting because sometimes people can get a lot of investment in a certain ritual, like, but the thing is, there's a reason that it might actually help them. And so we'll kind of delve
Right.
into that too after we kind of talk about some of
Talk
the
about it.
history,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because it really is all in your mindset. So it's
Hmm.
pretty fun to do. And if that's what it helps you get to where you want to go, by all means, use those things.
Yeah, our minds are powerful
Yes,
tools.
yes, yeah, it's so cool. So let's start out a little bit. Do you want to read a little
Yeah, we can talk, we
first?
can read a little bit about what we have prepared, aka you prepared for today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just did a little research today,
I love
so
it.
yeah, it's
So,
pretty cool.
yeah. Well, so we can talk about creating luck for yourself,
Yeah,
different ways and superstitions. Luck is often seen as a mysterious force that can either work in our favor or against us. While some people believe that luck is purely random and controllable and uncontrollable, others argue that we can create our own luck through our actions, attitudes, and beliefs. And that's the camp that we're in. If you haven't been watching us for a while,
right,
you
right.
should watch us some more if you don't know
Yeah, yeah,
that yet. So we're going to kind of talk about today different ways that you can create luck for yourself. And we're going to talk about, different superstitions over the centuries or different
yeah,
cultures
yeah,
today,
yeah.
a little bit.
It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, so superstitions related to creating luck have been present in various cultures throughout history. These beliefs often stem from ancient traditions, folklore, and religious practices. But we'll just take a look at a few, and talk about them. Throughout history and across cultures, people have developed numerous superstitions and rituals believed to attract luck. While the effectiveness of these practices are often debatable, they can provide a sense of comfort, control, and optimism in the face of uncertainty. And we'll go over some common ones that you'll probably enjoy and probably relate to because a lot of times when you're younger, you do things like that.
Yeah.
You have a lucky charm or whatever. You have to wear a certain necklace every day or, have those things in your pocket and we kind of do that with
We do.
with our rocks,
With our rocks.
but or certain jewelry that you wear for certain things and there is energy involved in that, in the stones and stuff like that, but also it is kind of a mindset thing. When you think it becomes, you manifest it. So it's pretty cool to learn about some of these superstitions, and then you think, oh, really, it probably stemmed from the energy of the things, a lot of it.
Right.
So
And like you said, like I said earlier, you said also our minds have power,
yeah.
and we have so much power and energy to create our lives. And if we believe something, it can become our truth.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. It's really interesting. One thing a lot of people are very familiar with, it has to do with the month of March, is four-leaf clovers.
Right. Yep. And those are really fun. I remember as a kid always looking through the little clover patches
Totally. I did that
to
too.
find them. Yeah. And if you found one, it was so cool. And I remember bringing it home and pressing it in a book so I could keep it forever. And it's just fun to do things like that. And you always knew, okay, I'm gonna have a lucky day now or a lucky week or whatever.
Oh yeah,
it
you
was.
felt really lucky when you found it. I
Yeah.
mean, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
And think about all of the positive energy that comes out of you when you're so excited
Right.
of finding that lucky clover.
Yeah. And that is, we talk about manifesting all the time, and that really is creating that fun, happy flow of that good energy when you do something like that. So we really were creating our luck along the way as we did fun stuff like that as a kid.
Absolutely.
So why do we give that up when we're adults?
Right. I mean, think of how much good energy you could drum up just looking for a lucky four-leaf clover,
right,
and being excited, thinking about it,
yeah,
and how fun it'll be when you find it. And even if you don't find it, you had so much fun searching in that clover patch for that four-leaf clover.
Yeah.
Sitting outside in sunshine.
Right. How does it get better than that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. So some of the lucky charms that people have used, like the four-leaf clover, you don't see it so much anymore, but we used to carry a rabbit's foot a lot of times, and I don't know, people are kind of weird about that kind of stuff now, but
yeah,
we never thought anything bad about it, or it was just something you could always buy a rabbit's foot at a trinket store or a what do you call it? Tourist place or whatever it was. They had different colors. They would dye the fur different bright colors, and you could always find. And that was a fun gift. Like I remember my grandma, I think, when I went somewhere and they brought us back rabbits, but from wherever they went on vacation or something, and that was always a fun thing to see what kind of little trinket we would get if someone went out of town and they'd bring us that back. A lucky penny is another one.
Oh yeah, lucky pennies.
Yeah.
That's a thing in my family.
Is it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
In particular, so my grandmother, my dad's mother, she'd be walking around and she'd go, oh, and I go, what's going on, Grandma? She goes, my foot hurts. I said, why does your foot hurt? She go, because there's a penny in my shoe.
Oh.
And I said, why do you have a penny in your shoe? And she goes, it's my lucky penny.
Really?
And she would just laugh, and I would laugh. And I was like, if the penny in your shoe is hurting your foot, maybe that's not the best place for your lucky penny. But she always had a penny in her shoe.
That's funny.
And
I
so
never heard of that one.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that I think about when people talk about lucky pennies, or when I find pennies, I think about my grandmother with a penny in her shoe.
So it always brings you good memories.
And she always, And so it brings me good memories. And then whenever I find a penny somewhere, I think of her. So it's really fun.
Put it in your shoe?
I have had pennies in my shoe, yes.
Yeah.
I don't have one
Cool.
today.
That's awesome. I love
But
it.
sometimes, yes, I will put a penny in my shoe for good luck.
Yeah, that's cool.
And most of it is because of the memory of her, but that's the thing.
Right.
That's how traditions and superstitions come to be, is
Yeah.
one person thinks a thing and they pass it down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. I know, I used to, whenever I see a penny on the ground, I always pick it up
Mhm.
because they can add up, that can
Yeah.
be, throw them in a jar and pretty soon you have some fun money to go take on
And
vacation
every
with you
time
or
I pick up a
whatever.
penny, I say,
Yeah.
find a penny and pick it up. All day long, you'll have good luck.
Oh, cool.
That's the little saying. So every time I pick one, I find one and I pick it up, even
Yeah,
if it's in my house, I say the
you'll
thing and I'll
say
put
it.
it in my jar.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, and people a lot of times will say that a penny is left from an angel or a loved one that's
Mhm.
passed on. In my family, we find dimes all the time.
We have that experience too. So like
Yeah,
the pennies, the dimes are really a thing
yeah,
with
yeah,
my family right now.
yeah.
Mhm.
Dimes we find in the craziest places where there's no way you could
Right.
get a
In
dime there.
places where you were like you get in and out of the car and all of a sudden there's a penny in the cup and you're like,
Right. Yeah. How did that get there?
that
Yeah.
wasn't there when I got out of the car two
Yeah.
seconds ago.
Yeah. The other day I found one on the couch. It wasn't there when I sat down,
Mhm.
and I got up and it was right there. I didn't have any in my pockets, so it couldn't have fallen out of my pocket.
Right.
It's fun to
Yeah.
have those experiences
It
happen.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it can be an angel giving
Yes.
you,
Our loved ones leave us messages in all sorts of
all the
ways.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So good. What else? Oh, another one is knocking on wood. And that one actually comes from a Christian tradition, I think. So let's just read. Well,
Yeah,
we could read about them all, I
they're
guess,
all
but
interesting.
yeah, they are. Should we read them all?
Sure.
It won't take long. So carrying lucky charms. Many people believe that carrying specific objects such as a rabbit's foot, a four-leaf clover, or a lucky penny can attract good fortune. The belief in lucky charms dates back to ancient times when people carried amulets and talismans to ward off evil spirits and attract good fortune. For example, the rabbit's foot. The belief in the lucky rabbit's foot originated in Europe, possibly dating back to Celtic times. It was believed that the left hind foot of a rabbit caught in a cemetery under a full moon would bring good luck. Isn't that specific?
It's
Wow.
very
I
specific.
had never heard that whole thing
And then all of a
before.
sudden it spread out to all rabbits' feet are
Yeah,
lucky.
that's funny.
Isn't that
Uh,
interesting?
A four-leaf clover. The four-leaf clover superstition is linked to Irish folklore, which with each leaf representing hope, faith, love, and luck. The rarity of finding a four-leaf clover among the more common three-leaf clovers is thought to contribute to its lucky status. I didn't know that either.
Makes
That's
sense.
cool. Yeah. Lucky penny. The lucky penny superstition can be traced back to ancient civilizations where metals like copper were believed to have protective properties. Finding a penny, especially one minted in a significant year or facing heads up, is considered lucky. Like that. Knocking on wood. This superstition involves tapping or knocking on wood to ward off bad luck or to ensure that a positive statement or situation remains true. The origin of knocking on wood is debated, but it is believed to have roots in ancient pagan rituals. Some theories suggest that ancient Celtic and Germanic peoples believed that spirits resided in trees and that knocking on wood would summon them for protection or good luck. I like that. In Christian tradition, knocking on wood may be related to touching the wooden cross for divine protection.
And
That's
isn't it
cool.
interesting that so many of us, we know like, oh, well, you said something, knock on wood,
Right.
like it's been going so good, knock on wood.
Yeah,
And that's something that's almost universal, at least in the Midwest.
yeah,
We
yeah,
always do that.
yeah, yeah.
And if you don't have wood, you say knock on whatever substance you have in front of you, like
Right.
formica or
Yeah,
whatever.
pretend this is wood and knock. Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah,
that's really interesting, we've been doing that since ancient times.
right. It is cool to know that it, kind of where it started from. I love it.
Mhm.
You want to read a little of
Yeah.
those?
One that's really interesting to me is crossing fingers. So, crossing one's fingers is believed to bring good luck or to protect against bad luck, particularly when making a wish or hoping for favorable outcomes. And one thing that I hear a lot is also to keep luck in. Like
Oh,
you cross
yeah,
your fingers to keep luck in.
yeah, that's good.
The practice of crossing fingers for luck or protection has several possible origins, and so I'm sure there's tons of stories about where it could come from. So these are
Right.
just a couple. In pre-Christian times, the cross was a symbol of unity and benign spirits, and making a cross with one's fingers was thought to attract good luck or to protect against evil.
Hmm.
During early Christianity, crossing fingers was used as a secret sign to invoke the power of the Christian cross and identify oneself as a Christian to other believers.
Oh,
One
that's cool.
Yeah, one thing I also think is really interesting is, when people cross their fingers when they're gonna lie.
Oh, yeah,
And I
and you
kind of
put
wonder
it
what's,
behind your
yeah,
back.
I wonder what that tradition
That
came from.
means like cancel.
Yeah, like
You
you're
know,
oh, I'm keeping my truth in, but
right.
letting the lies out or
Yeah,
something.
that's
I
funny.
always thought that was really interesting. I was like, why did they do that?
Yeah, yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. This is one that I love is wishing on a star.
Yeah, I do
I mean,
too.
how many of us have wished on a shooting star?
Yeah,
It's like a very ethereal, feel-good thing to do, I think.
it is. Yeah,
The belief that making a wish upon seeing a shooting star will make the wish come true is a popular superstition. The superstition of wishing upon a shooting star may have originated from the ancient Greek belief that falling stars represented the souls of the recently deceased. Making a wish on a shooting star was thought to carry the message to the gods who might grant the wish.
that's cool.
That's really
I
kind of
never
fun.
knew any meaning behind that one either. Hmm,
Yeah, I didn't
very
either.
cool.
I like that though, because it's kind of like you think about it, it's like your message is being carried.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I like it.
Well, feng shui, I do love me some feng shui.
Yeah, me too.
This ancient Chinese practice involves arranging your environment to promote the flow of positive energy or qi or qi, depending on where you're from. Some people say qi, some people say qi, which is believed to attract good luck and fortune. Feng Shui, the Chinese practice of arranging environments to promote the flow of positive energy, has its roots in ancient Chinese philosophy and cosmology. The principles of Feng Shui were developed over thousands of years with the goal of creating harmonious living spaces that attract luck, health, and prosperity. And I think it's really cool to use Feng Shui in different ways, and there's different schools of Feng Shui too
Yeah, yeah.
as well. But I think what's really neat about it is it's all about creating a harmonious space where the energy is allowed to flow throughout the entire space in certain ways. And by putting objects in certain places or removing objects from certain places or arranging this way or that way,
Yeah.
different spaces, can represent different areas of your life.
And
And that's really neat because, if you kind of live by that philosophy, you can create all sorts of wonderful and amazing things within your life and
Yeah.
the flow of your life
Yeah.
in different areas just based on doing those certain things or doing rituals in a spot or having certain items in one area that you're really wanting to create more flow in.
Yeah.
And it can be really fun.
Yeah, I like that. And I've used feng shui a little bit in my life and I have kind of taught a few people on what I learned. And I remember one time working with a gal who had been divorced and she was really wanted to find a soulmate or, someone to date or whatever. And I had learned in feng shui that some little things that you can do to create that momentum, like setting an extra plate at the table for that person, making room in your closet, not sleeping in a single bed, getting a bigger bed, so there's room for someone to come into your life.
Mhm.
And those kind of things do create that energy of movement in your life. And there were a couple other ones like hanging two peonies, the flowers behind your bed, and one like creating putting a picture of your ideal husband or whatever, a mate on your nightstand, and then putting a gemstone over it. So I remember she did those, she did some of them, the ones that felt good to her. Like she hung the peonies behind a picture behind her bed because they didn't go with her decor, but she still wanted the energy of it. So she put them there. And then she went to the craft store and bought a big diamond, the glass diamonds, and put that on a picture of a guy that she thought, it wasn't a specific, but the characteristics of a guy that she would like. And it was so funny, and she wasn't a believer in anything out of the ordinary, anything a little bit woo or whatever. But she thought, okay, I'm gonna try this, and if it works, good, And I remember her coming to work one day and said, oh my God, I went on a date and it's really good. And I think this guy is awesome. He's everything on my list. They ended up getting married, and it was just cool. So after that, she was a total believer. Whether it was the feng shui that did it, or just her mindset got more positive and like, yeah, there is somebody out there for me, not all men, because she had a bad relationship, not all men are bad, and I can find someone compatible. And it was really cool to see that happen.
What a huge shift,
Yeah,
and just changing a couple of things. And that goes to show you that, if you combine your mindset with ritual, it can have a huge effect.
right.
And like you were talking about sports earlier, you think about some like the big names in sports, they have certain rituals that they do before games, or
Absolutely.
they have certain, objects that they have or whatever,
Yeah.
and they really feel that it helps them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really the object that matters as much
Right.
as the energy of it. And like you
Yeah.
said, when she did that ritual, she was doing the practice of opening up herself to allow in what she had been asking for.
Yeah.
How beautiful is
Yeah.
that?
And really, that's the law of attraction,
Mhm.
She was doing the things that she knew to do that is gonna create that flow coming in of what you want.
Right,
So,
and said, okay, I'm ready for this.
yeah, yeah,
And
I'm
that's
exactly
awesome.
ready. Yeah,
That's
it
amazing.
was so cool. Yeah, yeah. And one of the sports ones, a huge sports one that most people know about is Tiger Woods. When he golfs in a tournament, the last day of the tournament, he always wears a red shirt.
Mhm.
And I don't think I've ever seen him not wear a red shirt on the last day of a tournament.
Right.
So that is one of the things. And I think it was his mom that was really into the feng shui traditions. And so that's red is a power number or a power
Power color.
color anyway, so that was a cool thing to see someone using it.
Yeah.
So, a little bit, it's not something that you wanna bet your life on, a superstition or anything, and that can be some of the downsides of it. Not relying your whole life on, winning the lottery because you did these certain things that are gonna make that happen.
Right.
But to use those tools to create that mindset and to create that flow, why not? It's not hurting anything. It's
helping.
creating that flow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really helping things move along and to start a good flow in your life. So go ahead and use those superstitious things if you want.
If they feel good to you, that's
Yeah.
really the part that matters. Like
And
if
that
it's
is
something that feels aligned
Yeah,
for your
that is
life.
definitely. So, one of the most significant factors in creating luck is having the right mindset. And people who believe that they are lucky tend to be more optimistic, open-minded, and resilient in the face of challenges. They're more likely to recognize and seize opportunities when they arise, and they are less likely to to be discouraged by setbacks or failures. So, maybe you know someone that is very lucky all the time, and they don't even realize it, or someone that's really unlucky all the time. I know today today I had an incident where um my son they've had so many problems with um like dishwashers, any appliances in their house going wrong, stuff not working properly and stuff like that. Well, they're just selling their house, and their stove quit yesterday.
Oh.
Their oven quit yesterday or
No.
last night. So he had to go buy a new oven today. And he's like, I don't know why we're so unlucky with appliances. And it's, he's bought in the house that they live in, I think, or maybe his marriage, they've had two different houses in their marriage, but they've had like a different dishwasher every year they've had to buy for some reason. And it's always something weird that happens to it. And he said, I don't know why we have such bad luck with this. And I'm like, I don't know. And it's just funny how that can happen. But then he turned it around, and I've always had this philosophy too, because I have had a lot of unlucky things happen in my life, but I always look at the silver lining in it, and um he today, the people that are buying the house didn't really care for the oven they had because it's a flat top, and they really wanted the old style, the coil
Really?
stove top, and they didn't want two ovens. His has two ovens. And now they're gonna get what they want, and it's way more reasonable than the oven that they had. So it really worked out great in the end.
Yeah.
He's happy,
Truly.
and the people that are buying his house are
And
happy,
it'll be a new one for them. They
and
won't have
it's
to buy a
brand
new
new.
one.
Yeah, it's so cool. So, we were talking about it, and he said, it's cool how there's always a silver lining, even if you think that it is something unlucky. In the end, it probably wasn't,
Right.
it was good.
In the
So,
moment, you're like, what?
yeah.
But later in hindsight, you're like, oh,
Oh,
that makes
that's
sense.
why that happened. Yeah, it's good.
It's really
Perfect.
awesome.
Yeah, so always look for that silver lining when you think your luck is turned for the worst. There's always a reason. I always say there's always a reason for everything, because something better is coming along that is
Right.
gonna be good. So,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
when we talk about kind of having this mindset, the lucky mindset of
Mhm.
like, I feel lucky. I'm always lucky. Things are always working out for me is
Yeah.
something that is very like law of attraction type of
Mhm.
mindset, and one that we talk about a
Yeah.
lot. And so, that creates more and more luck for you as you're in the flow. And so
Right.
that's the allowing mindset. That's the, okay, I know that this happened and I didn't prefer that, but everything is working out for me. And I
Mhm.
know that this is one bump in the road, but that bump in the road might actually have been a turning point, which creates something better, and then create something better and
Yeah.
create something better as I'm going along. So
Yeah.
I love that silver lining. And that's what I kind of look for too, is like, okay, well,
Mhm.
this happened. Did I like it? No. Did I get something out of it? Yes.
Mhm.
Do I always know what that is right away? No.
No.
But sometimes you do, sometimes you see it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you'll know, like, oh, I know why this happened because I've been wanting a new stove, or, whatever.
Yeah.
Or my car broke down because I really wanted a new car,
Right.
It happens a lot
Right.
when you're disliking something, you're creating that too, that
Mhm.
you're creating that momentum of. of the negative part of it, or it moving out of your life for some reason.
Right. And when you were talking about that, you mentioned cars.
Yeah,
That makes me think of, okay, when the car that I loved broke down,
yeah,
when I've
yeah,
only had it for a couple months,
yeah,
right? But it was something that was going to happen, even though I didn't know.
yeah.
But it happened in the best way possible. It happened where I had a safe place to pull off the road.
Mm-hmm.
It happened where, oh, there just happened to be a state trooper coming off the ramp behind me. And so he was able to pull over and give me a little bit of a hand. And I felt safer because he was there because I was on the side of the road by myself.
Yeah,
And, and then, then we got the tow company and then I got to the place that I needed, it
yeah.
all kind of worked out really well, even though my car had broken down. And then the
Right.
second piece of it was at that time when it broke down, it just so happened that this dad was looking for a car for his daughter
Oh,
and
yeah,
saw our car
yeah.
that we had posted saying, the engine's probably blown, but other than that, it's a perfect, beautiful working car.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw the opportunity because he knew how to replace the engine. And
Right.
then he got basically a brand new car for his daughter
For
and,
the cost
got
of an
for the
engine,
cost of
or,
an engine. And he got to have that running car. So, everything kind of worked out and it had all these puzzle pieces and we couldn't
Mhm.
see all of the puzzle pieces, and
Right,
all I could see was my car broke down and that really sucks.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't mad. Like I was like, oh, well, I didn't want that to happen.
yeah,
But that was like my whole reaction.
yeah.
Was like I just called my husband and said, hey, my car broke down. Yep, that happened. And that was about as upset as I got. I didn't feel super upset, and I didn't know why at the time. But I
Right,
think it's because everything was working out for us, and I just didn't know how.
yeah,
And that it worked out with the timing, and it worked out with the timing with having another car, and it worked out with the timing with eventually getting my new SUV, which will last much longer. And
hmm,
so it was all these things together, but I can't see the big picture.
right. And that's one thing we talk about a lot in using the law of attraction is don't worry about the how.
Mhm.
When things are going in a flow and you know that everything's working out for you, if we take away that try to control the how, it, it happens way better than we could have even imagined, almost every time.
Right. And just because you're getting bumps on the road at first
Yeah,
doesn't mean that you're not on the journey there.
right.
And that's what discourages a lot of people because they're like, well, I've been doing this manifestation thing,
Yeah.
and then these things happen.
Hmm.
And you're like, but that's evidence of movement.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, even though like you like this, you didn't like this, you like this, you didn't like this, you like
Hmm.
this, you didn't like this. But if you don't let that deter you from your path, you're heading, you're going, you're on
Yeah.
that journey and allow yourself to do that. And that's the thing is like resiliency
Hmm.
is super key to keep going so that you get to where you want because you already know you're going to get there. You're like, I know the destination, so I'm just going to enjoy that ride while I'm going. And if I
Absolutely.
don't like something, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just keep moving on, but it happened for a reason and I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep rolling.
Yeah. Rolling, rolling, rolling.
Rolling. I
Isn't
don't
that
know
a
if I'm
song?
singing yet. It's like an old
I
country
don't
song.
sing, but
It's an old
you
country
know.
song, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, some things you can do to help create the luck in your life is to prepare yourself, start paying attention to your mindset, start paying attention to what words are coming out of your mouth and how you're feeling when you think about the
Mhm.
things that you're trying to create. Do it when you're feeling good. Keep that momentum going, and that's going to help you. And prepare your skills, prepare your knowledge, do the research behind what you're trying to create and know what you're getting into.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that.
Mhm. When you feel prepared
Yeah,
and ready to deal with whatever situations, you already feel that sense of relief because if something comes up, I know I can deal with it. I know I can
yeah.
solve problems. I know I can look for solutions and things like that.
Hmm.
And you also said something that we always talk about that's super powerful is pay attention to how you feel.
Right.
Pay attention to
Yeah.
your body. Pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth, how they make you feel, because that's
Mhm.
going to tell you where you're at in relation to the path that you're trying to go on, all the things that you've asked for.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. paying attention to how you feel is one of the most important things you can do
Mhm.
in creating what you want in your life.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about that, we have podcasts
Yeah.
about using the emotional scale and what that means for your life. Go
Yeah.
check those out.
Go check them out. Yeah. So some other things are take calculated risks, embrace uncertainty, and be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. Taking calculated risks can open up new possibilities and lead to lucky breaks. That's a true thing too. If you never step out of your comfort zone, nothing ever new is gonna happen. You're never gonna get and find those things that you never knew you were gonna love. If you never try anything new or experience that or let yourself get out of your little comfort zone or little box, you never know what you're missing.
Right, that's how people get bored, is never trying something new.
Right.
And it's really interesting and fun to try something new. And you and I both do those things all the time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've loved trying is the different art classes that you do.
Yeah.
And every single one is different, and every single one like takes me out of my comfort zone, but is just so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I feel so good afterwards, and I think that that's really powerful to do new things.
It is.
And you
Yeah.
find, like you said, you find things that you love that you
Right.
never would have tried.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you haven't tried something new in a while, look around and see what ideas there are and try something.
Absolutely.
And that like you said, that moves the flow of your life a lot too. Even
Yeah.
if you don't expect it to, and in not just that area, like creativity, not just creativity, but in my sense of control over my life.
Right.
And and things like that. So you never know what it's going to open up for yourself too when you try something.
Yeah. Yeah. And even in your work life, if you really hate your job and you've been there for 10 years or something, try something new.
It's not the only job in the world.
Right. And people are so scared to do things in their life like that. And you just don't know what you're gonna love. And that's one reason why I love in high school when they have kind of a tech or a job corps kind of thing where kids can try different types of job or take a shop class, take a rec engines class, or take like I did, took a printing class in high school. I found out that I loved it, and I did that for 28 years in my life, and now I see my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's taking 4 different classes where he can find, try out 4 different things. One is cooking and one is carpentry or woodworking or something, and I can't remember what the other ones are, but it helps you figure out what you might want to do for a job in your life. And there's no real rule that says you have to stay in the same career your whole life. And
Lord knows I haven't.
Right. And I haven't either. Most of my life I did, but I loved it. So that makes a difference, when you find something you love. I lucked out, I think, that I found it in high school. Right. And I went on to college for that and then worked it for a long time.
Right.
And still do, that's where my artistic abilities came from. That's what I love to do.
You
and I still do it. Yeah, I still do it. And so it's just cool to open your eyes to something different sometimes when you're bored in your life or you're not getting that satisfaction or feeling fulfilled in your life. Then it's time to try something new. And it doesn't have to be a big career change either. You can find a new hobby. You can, find something, go hiking or go camping. Maybe you've never gone camping in your life and you find out, oh my God, I love this,
Right.
So don't be scared to try things.
Yeah,
and
take a class. There's like community classes
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
There's so many different things to try. And if you
Mhm.
try something you don't like it, great, try something else.
Right. Yeah, it might lead you to something else that you're really gonna love. So
Mhm.
don't be scared to try.
Right.
Try new things.
Right, and when
Yeah.
you talked about learning things in school, I took a shop class in my school, and
Awesome.
I took it 2 years in a row because that's all that I was able to take it,
Yeah.
and I loved it. And I
Yeah.
still love like working with wood and building things and creating things today.
Yeah.
Like, and it's helped me in my current job, well, besides what we do here, I have two jobs.
Yeah.
I have two jobs. I have my
Most
business.
people do, I think.
Yeah, I have my business and I have my job. Most people have at least two jobs.
Right.
And to like the pencil sharpeners will break down.
Yeah.
And when somebody tells me, said, bring it to me. I'm the pencil sharpener wizard. And I just take that whole thing apart, piece by piece, with all the screws and everything like that. And I
Yeah.
take it apart and I find out what part's not working. I fix it and I put it back together. I did that today. You
That's
never
awesome.
know
Yeah.
where those skills are going to come in handy either.
Yeah.
And in an office space, you're like, well, when are you going to build things? But you
Right.
wouldn't even
Yeah.
imagine the different things that
Yeah.
I've re-put together, I've fixed.
It's awesome.
It's so much fun. So
Yeah.
much fun to have those skills and stuff to utilize them and bring them out. And then you're like, well, I love this one thing. How can I develop that?
That's right. Yeah, so don't be scared to try something different. Try something totally out of your box, and you'll see that it can be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So what else?
Ooh, networking and building relationships.
Awesome, yeah.
And that could be really interesting. It says surround yourself with diverse, interesting, and well-connected people. Building strong relationships can lead to valuable opportunities, advice, and support. And that's kind of goes along with even taking calculated risks,
Right.
where it's super interesting to meet new people, and you never know where that's going to lead. That could lead to meeting your mate. That could lead to your next really big and interesting opportunity. That could lead to your next best friend. You never really know what that's going to lead to.
That's
Any
right.
opportunity or relationship, or it could build on 1,000 things for you.
Yeah, it might be a collaboration with someone that you never would have thought of, just by meeting new people. And it, another thing too is you might, there's that 6th degree of relatively a relationship or whatever
the
of
6th
Kevin
degree.
Bacon.
Yeah, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is what I think of. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times you'll meet someone new and you'll figure out down the road, oh, I'm related to this person, or I used to go to college with this person, or you'll find common ground somewhere a lot of times with anyone that you meet that's new. And it's so cool to do that.
Yeah.
It helps create that security and feeling of, okay, I did go out of my box to meet new people, and I found out that we have a lot in common, so it's really cool to go out there.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I mean, sometimes two introverts meet each other,
right,
and become best friends, and now they have a podcast.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it?
Who would have ever imagined that?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Ooh, I love this one. Be proactive and persistent. Don't wait for luck to come to you. Actively seek opportunities and pursue your goals with determination and persistence. And we just talked about how persistence and resilience and stuff is super important. And also, one of the things that we purport is focusing on and bringing opportunities to you.
Right. Don't
Looking
sit and
for
wait.
opportunities.
Right. Yeah, don't sit on your couch and wait for things to come to you.
No, take inspired action.
Yeah.
Go look for it. Focus on it. See what you want and then follow your guidance there. It's not about just sitting and waiting, because sitting and waiting in your living room might bring an opportunity, but you're more likely to find it if you go, oh, I feel like going for a walk.
Right.
I'm going for a walk. I'm like, oh, there's somebody over there with a dog. I love dogs. I'll go talk to that person. And then that person is like, oh, hey, I do this one job. You're like, oh, I'm really interested in that. I've always kind of been, it's always kind of been in my wheelhouse. Tell me more. And they're like, oh yeah, we actually have an opening in our company. And, pretty soon that's a huge opportunity just because you followed your guidance to go for a walk. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The creator, God, whatever you want to call that energy, starts to bring things to you when you put that out there, that you want things to come.
And if you're taking steps, no matter what that is, even if it's just going for a walk, that's telling the universe, hey, they're looking for something. They want something to come. They're creating that flow. So,
Yep. And you're taking movement on it. You're
Yeah.
not just sitting still. You're like, I feel like doing this. And rather than sitting there, like, I feel like going for a walk, but I'm just going to sit on my couch.
yeah,
You missed that opportunity. Well, they're going to have to send another one to you. Are you going to listen to that one?
right.
What about the next one?
Yeah,
What about the next one?
yeah.
There'll always be more. But,
Yeah.
if you listen to it the first time,
Mhm.
think how much faster you'll go than if you just sit there on your couch going, I really feel like going for a walk, but I'm not.
Yeah,
It's like, well, now that person has left dog park with their dog and now you didn't get that job.
Right.
So, just as an example, but that's how things really are. So think about that next time you get
Yeah.
an urge to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, pay
Why is that
attention
happening?
to those little pings that are coming to you that are,
Super random thoughts.
yeah, super random thoughts are something you should pay attention to for sure.
Yeah, especially if they're positive.
Yeah,
If they're positive or they're telling you to do something or go somewhere, you're like, I should probably go try. I need to go to the grocery store right now.
yeah,
I need to go find some garlic.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Oh, hey, I haven't seen you in 5 years. How are you
Right.
doing, old
Yeah.
friend?
Yeah.
There's opportunities everywhere, but you
Yeah.
do have to take your inspired action towards those things. Otherwise, you're going to kind of stay stagnant, or it's going to take way longer than it needs to.
Mhm.
And we don't want you to take forever to get the things that you want. We want you to enjoy
No.
your life and enjoy the flow.
Yeah.
And it's all about the journey.
Yeah, yeah.
So proactive is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Help others and give back.
Yeah,
Engaging in acts of kindness and generosity can create a positive ripple effect, attracting good fortune and building a supportive community around you. And
I
that
love
really is
that.
about the vibration that you're putting out. And,
Yeah.
you're putting out your love and heart and
Mhm.
stuff and care for other people. And so that gets reflected back at you too. And how wonderful to create that cycle of kindness
Yeah,
and love in your life. I mean, who doesn't want that?
right. And there's a quote or a saying or something somewhere that talks about when if you're feeling stuck or feeling like nothing is going your way, go help someone else. And when you do that, it starts that forward motion, just like every other thing, it starts that forward motion, and the universe sees that you're trying to help someone else, so
Mhm.
then it in turn helps you.
Right.
And it just keeps flowing that way. So, and that's one of the reasons we do our podcast. We love to share our knowledge to help other people.
Right.
We're not asking for anything in return.
No.
We just love to
Mhm.
share it and help others. So being of a service mindset is really, really fun and really helps to create that forward motion in your life. So,
Right. And that's a really fun place to be.
yeah,
Is to just give just because you want to.
right.
Just because it feels good.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah.
And if you get something in return, awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's okay, because what you're doing is you're enjoying just putting that out there and giving, and that's fun for you, and that fun creates flow also.
Yeah, yeah. And doing things that you love to do no matter what, just to help someone else, just because it feels good for you to do it. So
Mhm.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we did our podcast for months before we got actual subscribers that we didn't know the people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That we didn't beg them to subscribe.
We never begged anybody to subscribe. We're like, hey, when you subscribe to our podcast,
Right.
we did.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is like, we just were putting it out there because we wanted to help other people and we wanted to share the things that work in our lives. And it's really fun for us to come together every week and do
Yeah.
our podcast and talk about topics we care about and we love.
Yeah.
And so, this is like something that we do to be of service to others and
Yeah.
also to ourselves because we enjoy it so much.
Right.
And so that's the type of thing, it doesn't have to be something big.
No.
It can be just something small that feels amazing to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say kindness is free. Sprinkle that stuff everywhere, right?
Sprinkle that shit everywhere.
Exactly.
Sorry, I cussed if you haven't noticed that. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. And it really is true that if you spread kindness throughout your life and, throughout your day, it does come back tenfold. It really does. People will notice that and help you out when you need it too. Yeah,
Right.
love it.
Absolutely.
Any final words? I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that covers a lot of the stuff we wanted to
Yeah,
talk about today, and some extra little sprinkles of ourselves in there.
yeah, yeah. So go find your lucky 4-leaf clover. We don't have clover out yet in our snowy situation,
Sure, won't be
but
long.
yeah,
Won't be long. It'll be one of the first things to start coming up, which is
Yeah.
exciting.
yeah. But go find your lucky rock, or a lucky necklace,
Or
or
your lucky socks.
lucky socks. Yeah, lucky jersey. Don't let your mom wash your stinky jersey.
Oh my gosh, don't start that.
But do those things and have fun with it and create that luck for yourself, because it will come to you if you make that
Yeah.
motion.
Do things that feel good to you,
Yeah,
on the path there, but have your focus of this is what I'm really wanting, and just follow your guidance there.
yeah.
Follow the fun there. Follow the
Follow the fun. I like that.
yeah, follow the fun, right?
That's good.
Follow the superstitions that feel good to you. If you're like, lucky pennies, I've always had a thing for lucky pennies.
Yeah,
You could make that like kind of a fun game for yourself, finding all the
Yeah.
pennies
yeah.
as you're walking along,
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So go have fun, and we will see you next week.
We wish you luck.
Bye. Good luck.